video, I'll be doing something a little different. I'll show you an issue that these expeditions have, for expeditions. So anything from a 96 to 2002 should be exactly the same. Now these rotors, the front rotors, they usually tend to seize and get frozen on the hub over here where the bearing is. And usually what people do is you put a bunch of washers, a bolt, and you put a nut here and you drive this down, and this pushes and presses on this and pushes this out. Now it'll work sometimes. It worked on the left side that I did. I also hammered it a million times. Over here also what I did was I put a 7-ton puller, and as I was trying to pull this out, it was popping and breaking off here, the rotor. So this works sometimes, doesn't work all the time, you might get lucky. Now what happened here is, as I was doing this, it developed a crack in here. I'll see if I could, right in here. As you can see, I'm putting a pick in there. There's a crack that goes from here all the way down to here on this ear where the caliper bracket bolts onto. So this is no good. I gotta change this whole spindle now. First thing I'm gonna do here is take this axle nut cotter pin off. Take the axle nut cap off. It's a 35mm nut. You can get this from your AutoZone, the rental tool program, for free. It's part number OEM 27328. Go ahead and take this off. Okay, now I'm going to hit this to loosen it from the hub over here. Okay, now as you can see, when I tap it, it moves back and forth. That means it's loose. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take the whole spindle out with the bearing in it and the frozen rotor. So the top castellated nut. Take my favorite tool in the whole wide world, my dikes. Straighten out this cotter pin and yank it from behind. That's a 21mm nut, and I'm putting 2 wrenches on it to crack that loose. Okay, so we put the nut down so we have some space here. We knock the ball joint out. We move this plastic protector up and put the pickle fork in there. And my camera girl just starts swinging at this bitch. Hit that shit like it owes you money. Yep, popped. And we'll see underneath here. As you can see, there's no space because the ball joint popped out. The bottom cotter pin out. That's a 15/16, and go ahead and crack that bitch loose, just like that. And same thing, leave a little gap so when you pop the ball joint out, it's gonna rest on that nut. All right, now we're gonna whack this bitch. Yep, good. Now the tie rod cotter pin. Little tool carnage over here. I snapped my universal black socket with my impact gun. Gotta love it. That's a 7/8 nut. Yep, popped. Now inside the engine compartment on the passenger side, we're gonna take this connector off for the ABS sensor. Just like that. Okay, now over here, I'm gonna pop this off and pop this off too. And I could go ahead and pull this down. All right, now this ball joint here, when you spin this nut, it turns the whole ball joint together. So what I like to do is put some force between the two to put pressure on that nut. So I put a pickle fork in there and I put a huge ass extension here and just pry down on it and have somebody turn that so it won't turn with the nut. Alright, now this whole thing's gonna come off. I'll give the axle one more whack, and if I hit it, you're gonna see this pop out a little bit. And I'm gonna take this off from the bottom and continue whacking the axle out. And there goes the whole kit and caboodle. Alright, now before we put the spindle on, I'm going to use a little cookie over here, a Scotch little pad, and clean all this rust out of here where the seal rides on. I'm going to put some grease around this where the seal is going to ride. So we're going to put some grease on the lip over here of the seal. This spindle is from Dorman and it already has the seal already pressed in. Alright, now to put the spindle in, you grab your shaft and this goes on the bottom like that. Grab the nut underneath and start threading that in. Alright, so that's good. So this is the outer part of the seal. The inner part of the seal rides on this, so also put some lube there all around. Alright, now that you got the bottom in, you maneuver the shaft in the hole, and you got your jack underneath the control arm. And over here, just position the hole on top with the stud and just jack it up from underneath the control arm. As you can see, as you're jacking it up, you're coming closer and closer, and these two are going to marry each other. We're going to have a little clown wedding over here.
Am I invited?
Shut up, camera girl.
Yay!
Just do your job. Film, bitch. And tighten them up until they're very snug. And make sure you line up the hole for the cotter pin. It's all about the hole, baby. It's all about the hole. That's good. Slide it through. And you're good. Now put the tie rod in. And we're done. Now to put a dust shield on. This is from the old one. I used a ratcheting 8mm wrench to take this off from the old one. And now this goes like this. Just align everything and start putting back the 8mm bolts on here. Put a little bit of grease on the splines, a little bit of grease in here, and the mating surface with a bearing will mate the axle over here. And ready to put the bearing in. Okay, the ABS wire goes through here, and this is the new bearing we're putting in. Just feed everything through there. And you won't have to grab the axle in the back, so you fit the splines in there. Just like that. Now you put the 3 bolts in the back. I put some blue thread locker on these bolts. So these in. You might have to maneuver this around a little bit to catch the bolts. Don't put it in all the way. Now you catch the other two. Now catch this one. And if you can't catch this one, wiggle it around while you're trying to catch it. And this one is caught. And the last one. Okay, so what I did was I tightened them all down. I was taking turns going back and forth, snugging them down. And now I'm gonna go to 140 foot-pounds over here. And that's good. And the last one. Now it's an 8mm bolt back here. It's good. And these go in here. And I'm just gonna go ahead and plug this in on top. Okay, now inside the engine bay, take the ABS sensor wire. And that should be good. Yep, we're good. To help prevent the rotor from seizing on the hub over here, lather up a lot of anti-seize on the bearing hub face. We're gonna put new rotors on here. I got the brake parts cleaner. Spray the face of the rotor on both sides. And clean that up. I thought you guys might enjoy this. Look how bad these pads are. Almost down to the rivets. Alright, now I'm just cranking down here. I'm just putting 2 C-clamps here. And we're cranking down on both of them to press both pistons in. Alright, so that's how flat you want to make them. And I put the old pad on here to flatten these down. So that should be good. I'm putting 2 lug nuts on here to keep the rotor in place. Pop these off. Put new brackets on here. Came with the pads. Now put some brake caliper grease over here on the tabs, because that's where it's going to slide back and forth on the bracket. And remember where your sensor is in the pads. So when you put these back, it's going to be in the same exact order as you took them off. And pop these in. Just like that. There you go. Alright, now you grab your caliper. Push these in. Just like that. And now you can put it on. Now put the caliper bracket bolts on to the spindle. I put some blue thread locker on them. Bottom one in. To get the bottom one, you have to move the caliper back and forth until it catches. And it just caught. Also make sure when you do this that the brake hose isn't twisted or anything like that. These caliper anchor bolts, I'm also going to torque these down to 140. And we're good. I'm cleaning the sliders with brake cleaner. You If they're really bad, you could wire wheel them a little bit or lightly sand them just so they're shiny. And use some brake caliper grease on these too. Pop these in. And now put the bottom one in. Yeah, that's good. Alright, now these are tying the lug nuts. And I put the car on the floor. And I put some blue thread locker on here on this nut. And this should be torqued down to 220 foot-pounds of torque. And we're good. Put this cap on, and you could put a cotter pin through here and bend it over. So, thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel, like me, and share me. See ya. And my camera girl is start swinging at this bitch.
Why not?
Good job.
It's like putting an old pair of underwear on new clothes.
What she said. That's good.
Nice jacket.